Welcome to Yildiz Readings 5D, a hub in which we cover your zodiacs, astrology, twin flame path, moon energy, and more. Should you need a booking, you can go to the link below. And for all information relating to our psychic tarot extension, the information is in the box below. Without further ado, let's take a look at what I see coming through for your zodiac sign. Were we wrapping up 2022? More than likely. We did have Mars, the planet of war, obsession, passion, sitting in the house of Gemini from August last year, where it did then ingress into the house of Cancer, which it is deemed in as detriment, but many of us are super excited at the fact that we get a break of that. Separately, we had Saturn shifting into the house of Pisces, which occurred on the 7th of March, 2023. It will remain there in the house until 2025. Separately, our big Pluto ingress into the house of Aquarius did occur last month. This also is going to be a huge subject coming in the collective due to the fact it's going to shift between Capricorn and Aquarius, wrapping up its karmic cycle. It can feel a little bit testing, especially now because it was at the 29-degree point, shifting into 0 degrees of Aquarius. We're still trying to get our footings and getting the PDF of what subjects are going to be really looked at with great detail and really cast out because they're simply not working. Let's take a look at how this month is going to be shaped for us and what we need to be prepared for. Now, what can April bring? Number one, we do have an eclipse occurring this month. Number two, we do have Mercury moving retrograde. We're going to feel that mid-month. We also have Mars sitting in the house of Cancer. That can bring themes of emotions to the surface, and we do need to try and be patient. And I definitely see some themes really playing out in a sense of new beginnings. And I found it really interesting at the fact that we had a new moon last month and we're having another new moon in Aries in two sets. So I really felt as though we were going to start something brand new, have an inkling of it, but really not get the full, momentum of it happening. And I do feel we're going to have more clues to this, but it really started to set the stage last month. And so wherever that Aries placement is for each zodiac, which I'll dive into, what I'm seeing is this hybrid partial eclipse that is going to be occurring on the 20th of April, 2023. And I feel it's important, don't make any major decisions if you can. Moon is very emotional. It can be home, family, mother, intuitive energy. And Sun is the identity, the logic, and generally speaking through that, we tend to not have either. So, whereby we can delay making decisions, especially because it's already entering into that shadow phase of Mercury retrograde in the house of Taurus. I think it's really important to, I would say, be optimistic, but be cautious. Really, dot your I's and cross your T's. You could feel that some blessings are coming back to you from the past, but it also can be a time where we're going backwards to go forward simultaneously. But I do see this is a brand new chapter. So I would say by mid-month, try to have your ducks in a row. Try and keep as organised as possible and be aware of those inkling frustrations and tension points where we do have that first eclipse of the year, which is a hybrid. We also are having a full moon in the house of Libra. And I think that's pretty interesting because both the axis of Libra and Aries will be coming about later in the year as the nodes move. And they tend to set the tone of what we have astrologically happening globally. And I did say really at a collective level that feminines do need to be very cautious of how they show up in society, of their safety, their wellness, and being that we're entering April with Mars in the house of Cancer, practice safety, practice self-awareness, try to build people up, try to not pull them down, but very much protect yourself where need be. As we do move into the month of April, we are in the vibration of angel number 4. Separately, we can also look to number 11 for added guidance, as we do have it being the 4th month in 2023, breaking down to an 11. Now, what I see coming through for this is we can have this sense that we are feeling very alone, that we're feeling very isolated. This particularly could be because Mars is in the house of Cancer. And so with our endeavors, with our hopes, with our feelings, we can particularly really feel misunderstood. Now, 11 is a brand new chapter. We can feel a little bit out of our depth, but know everything is very divinely guided. Alignment is key, but it's a brand new chapter. So again, the tedious frequency of the precipice of change can feel like you are a giraffe trying to gain its bearings. Know that you're not alone and that help is coming. You are going to be attracting in brand new situations. And even if you do feel out of your depth, know that universe has your back. It is the precipice of change that does make us feel very tense. Trust the process. We can feel misunderstood with our feelings, our emotions. And again, Mars can bring volatility to those dynamics. So knowing where Mars in Cancer falls in your chart could be pretty key. And also really getting prepared, because we do have an eclipse this month. And so where you're feeling that there is lack, there are also going to be opportunities. And it's really about getting into alignment, seeking out those situations, having that attention in those areas of your life and enhancing them where need be. The burning question on all of our lips may be, is this month going to be any better? Are we ready? Are we prepared? And what is hidden? And I'm going to cover all of that inside of your zodiac. I will give you tips where I feel are necessary inside of any heavy energy that does potentially come through. And separately, you can book a private session or join a YouTube membership. Let's take a look at your zodiac sign and all the various areas that can play out this month for you. Welcome back to your April 2023 forecast and what I see coming through for your zodiac sign, Virgo. Now, I'm going to try and give you the tips that I feel are going to serve you the best during this month, moving into the following. Yes, we do have another eclipse next month, so this can be a deeply transformative wrapping up of cycles time. We do currently have the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio, so those themes both between now and next month will be wrapping up, as well as we did have Pluto leave Capricorn temporarily and move into the house of Aquarius. We will be discussing that and how it's going to impact your zodiac sign this year, as well as for the next 20 years and what that means. Separately, Mercury retrograding during the eclipse, very unique time. Let's jump into your romance sign and see what can be coming through for you. Now, we did have Pluto transiting through your 5th house of romance, children. So a lot of things, especially to do with your creativity, what you would do with those things and your social attributes of things, a lot of those situations would have felt very bogged down and changeable. And a lot of the way you related to the element of love also may have felt quite restricted. I do feel you've been able to make the changes, and there could be some deep revelations of old ways you were relating to other individuals, feeling about the circumstance, maybe having really broad shoulders and, holding that really on your own. That energy would have come to the critical degree last month. So you might have felt a great deal of intensity. I also feel that blasts from the past are really going to be coming up quite heavily this year, point blank zero. And that is because Pluto is going to be transiting between both signs. Pluto can be to do with sex, debt, legacies, inheritances, deeper intimacy, the other person's money, things to do with their family. So a lot of that can be wrapping up this year, especially if it was quite drama-filled, very in and out. You can find that that is going to ease up, but we will be revisiting that. Pluto now sits in your 6th house of daily routine. So it can be the things you do. The interesting part with the 6th house for you within love will be where we're our own worst enemy, the thoughts we feel, how it impacts our health, how stress levels impact us. Enabling and, really reducing that. It can be, and especially with Pluto, it can be control related dynamics. You are also going to be able to be more structured with your approach, and you will really want to be having something that's more sustainable, having things that are more conducive and more like, how can I say it? Like team orientated. But again, with Saturn at the moment sitting in your Venus house, you can find you are more structured. Your love zone is going to be maturing. Neptune also was sitting there, and it still currently is. So last year when it retrograded, many of you within your love might have felt like your expectations were delusional. Whenever there's a retrograde with Neptune, we tend to have these revelations and we're like, oh my gosh, I've been so out of alignment. And it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It just means that that ideal, was maybe problematic. I do feel with this position, it is going to help mature your area of love. If you're in a relationship that is very, how could I say it, controlling, or you just feel it's not resonating with you, this can be a time where you assert yourself and you require more maturity. But I do feel what it's going to give you is tools to actually handle it more effectively. The eclipse this month also is going to be in your 8th house. So again, it can be to do with legacies, inheritances, changes happening within the partnership, really seeking and starting a brand new beginning where both parties are on the same page for some. The other thing can be is that there can be circumstances happening in your romantic interest life. That may be with their family members. It could be with newfound stability, new ways to actually handle your love affairs and your romantic connections, as well as your contracts and partnerships. And that can really be coming to a peak during the time of the eclipse. Mercury also will be retrograding, and this can be having to travel at a drop of a hat. And what you can find is having to travel, and it could be, maybe that is it, it's distance, it's knowing that the person is from it could be that they're from a foreign culture. It may be that you are like I said, needing to travel. Mercury is retrograding in Taurus. It links to your 9th house. So there can be, for some, if you were really in a terrible relationship and you go, really, I've had enough, I just don't want to be in this, it could be severing of those cords. For some, not all. The other way it can play out is that you are needing to travel. There's difficulties. It could be cultural beliefs are coming to a head. Misunderstandings are possible. You are Mercury. Okay, so you are a Mercury zodiac sign. So it is going to be making you feel like you're going back down memory lane. You also will need to look after your wellness more during a Mercury retrograde. And again, it can, staying on the right side of the law is one way it can play out. Now, Pluto also is going to be making a square to this eclipse, and it is in your 6th house. So even more so when it does come to you, maybe trying to appease everyone. Because it's a square, there's going to be some sense of difficulty. It may be that now there's a new beginning, but there's something playing out simultaneously that is kind of putting a bit of a damper on that, but it's only going to be temporary. So try and ride that wave. I do feel particularly this can be a great time with your purpose, and you're going to have clarity. And in the first 11 days, we have Venus sitting in the house of Taurus. So it can be very hot and heavy. It can be very romantic. There can be huge conversations. There can be meeting of minds. You also can be attracting individuals into your life that are very much on the same page as you. The only issue is if this is a new person, because Mercury will be retrograding in a Venus sign, just really go with the flow. Try to not put too much expectations on it, because we do tend to deal with things of the past. And so both parties temporarily might feel pulled in different directions. It's not it won't work. It's that you just need to be less codependent in that mix, taking things less personally and just riding with it. And I do feel if you can do such, it's really going to help you navigate these transits. The other thing is, if you have a goal, by the 11th, you're really going to be looking at you as an individual, you as where am I going? What am I doing? And so, yes, emotionally, if we have this sense that we don't know where we stand in the mix, or separately, we don't have a physical purpose, it can trigger us. And then the risk of it is projection. The other way it can play out is that you may feel controlled in some shape or form. So particularly with the 6th house, if you do find that you're giving your power away and you're doing everything for everyone, rein that in and use that art of communication. Crosswise can occur, but beautiful brand new chapters also can. I do particularly feel with these transits up in the mix, it can bring some complications. Now, I don't think that has to be something negative. It can be frustrating, if anything. We do have Venus, like I said, in the 9th house. So it might be that you're upskilling or looking to study. Venus will be there, like I said, for the first 11 days. This could be socializing, networking, tying up a contract. It could have been an old contract moving into a new one. It may be travel and, whatever project it is you're working on, be it as a home-based business or your career. The first 11 days are very positive for advertising. The first 11 days are very good for expansion. It's the 9th house, so it can expand the income potential in the first 11 days. As it does move towards the 11th onwards, Mercury by this stage is in the house of Taurus. You can really be looking at stabilizing those things, but actually working on projects. And you might be very goal oriented in this area. Mars in the 11th house also can be to do with friends. Be careful not to go into any disputes with management. Be careful to not give your power away, to not burn yourself out with your purpose, because you do have Mercury that will be in shadow by mid-month, and then it retrogrades, which then can have all those crosswise. So you really want to do the heavy lifting early on in the pace. We can be really optimistic at this point in time, and I think we need to be very realistic. Being that it's a Venusian sign relating to money, values, trade, these things can fluctuate, both because Aquarius can be very Uranian energy, and it also can be coming through with the eclipse very changeable suddenly. And we do have a full moon this month, and the full moon for you does link to your second house of resources. So you could, for some of you could need new white goods. You may be looking at land and material value. Confidence, newfound confidence can come through. During the full moon, it is a pink moon. I also feel at the beginning of the month, new chapters and new income sources are possible. If you were transitioning, going up a level, it can mean that there is more responsibility on you. You're going to be very obsessive when it does come to really increasing your net worth, increasing your values, getting large projects underway. And it can be very exciting for you. Just know your limit. Mars is going to burn the candle at both ends, and it is deemed as in its detriment in the house of Cancer. So if you do find in your career sector you're burning the candles at both ends, be cautious. Also be really careful around friendship groups. It can go from hot to cold. It can go from giving your power away to dominance, because it is Mars, very, very powerful, so to speak. You also can fluctuate in energy and resources. So you're making it happen. You're getting it done. Be realistic. By the time Mercury retrogrades, it can feel that you going with the flow, reworking some of those things. And then as it moves direct the following month, things can become more clear and tidy. Now, if there was a wellness point for you to be looking at, would generally be Mercury retrograde. Mars actually was impacting that because it did move retrograde in the house of Gemini previously. So you may have felt quite... Now, if there was a wellness point for you to be looking at, would generally be Mercury retrograde. Mars actually was impacting that because it did move retrograde in the house of Gemini previously. So you may have felt quite tired. You may have had things that you needed to heal and repair. Chiron in Aries, the wounded healer, will be very linked to this eclipse. Again, I would say when it does come to any feminine issues, making sure you're checking it, checking the use-by dates with food, anything hidden. It can be intimate wounds can come up, confidence issues, but your wellness, your aura can get quite depleted. So you're really going to have to know your limit. As you're moving, as you're dealing with things, I'm hoping that Pluto has really aided you in seeing the previous 20-year transit, which was, where we give our power away. You do have that creative energy. So there can be changes in food. You may find with Pluto out of Capricorn temporarily, you may have changed your style of food. You may have suddenly gone off things and gone, that's really strange. Why don't I like that anymore? I would say, do things at the moment that are going to keep you organized, keep you grounded, protect your throat chakra. Eating food groups that are going to be nutritious to a degree and help your immunity, because the rundown frequency is a very big possibility. Having adequate rest. There may be points where your creativity, your vibration is not going to let you sleep properly. And so you could be overthinking certain things, especially with Mars in the house of Cancer. I would be very cautious of using pacifiers during the eclipse. You do have Leo transiting over your 12th house, and it might not turn out as well as you think. So if you need to, really clearing the house a week before, doing your guided meditation, using crystal therapy if you feel it's fit, and then during the eclipse, moving through it, keeping hydrated, removing pacifiers and white noise. And a couple of days after, you can go back to your rituals. But Epsom salt's not such a good thing during that time. During the full moon, yes, but not during the eclipse. Give it a moment. We will move into the following month, which I'll give you the tips for that. We're going to go back to back in eclipses, so it's going to be very changeable. We're going to have to be very patient with ourselves, but it is going to give us the PDF of the next lunation, the next nodal cycle, okay? So nodal cycles, at this point in time, we have the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio. So with the North Node in Taurus, you have been looking at your spirituality, your belief systems, situations to do with siblings has been coming up. Psychic development for some. Travel, you might have been traveling quite a bit, doing long distance travel. Education, upskilling, advertising, spirituality. The other thing you might have been doing was trade and things to that degree. Now, to transform your communication style, this could have been some hidden truths, some hidden feelings, and that Scorpio-related dynamic. Now, the nodes moving is soon. This month is giving us the PDF. It's going to be a 3-year energy, so it's going to be to about 2025. Those themes are really going to be coming up. So collectively, right, Taurus and the North Node, collectively, we saw Bitcoin, we saw changes in weather patterns, changes in banking systems, changes in agriculture, changes in technology, changes in retirement. We saw that in France. So that is the North Node. The South Node can be to do with particular countries. It can be cultural things, fairness and equality, intimacy, debt, politics, taxation, all of those things have been transforming. And it has really been the systems to the key that have been undone so that they can work more effectively. So that's the North Node wrapped up. Now, especially if you are transitioning careers or starting something new, there is a possibility from the full moon onwards, and even probably before, I tend to see transits happening the month before, is that you can have a new income stream. You can inherit things. You can tie up a loose end financially. There can be one way of receiving abundance that goes, and that can be quite upsetting. So it could be that you change jobs, and so that's not there. Could be a payment that you receive. This also can be selling an item that you feel doesn't resonate with you. It could be a physical asset, be it it's a car or a piece of land or a home, for instance. But again, your budget will be really focused upon. And I do find, because you will have Mars in the house of Cancer linking to your 11th house, you do have an opportunity to make more money. I also feel where it does come to the Venusian energy of money, resources, value, your body, you're going to be, you could feel like you're aging, honestly. You could feel like you're leveling up, you're maturing. So you may find, instead of risky situations, Saturn's coming in saying, okay, with your connections, with your money, with your values, how can we be balanced and realistic? And so it's going to be aiding you with this. And there is a possibility of abundance coming through. Some of you can have lucky wins, especially near the eclipse. If you dibble in that, I wouldn't go to extremes. Again, I can't financially advise you. This is mainly the transits of how it can impact you. Potential of inheritance, potential of a new stream of income, really looking to secure yourself. From this point onwards, it's going to be ushering it in. The difficulty can come through in what you can do in your daily routine. So it can be fine tuning. Fine tuning how you deal with finances. Again, in your 6th house, you may need to, you may start a new job, for instance, and then you might, get unwell. And so during that time, it's not permanent. It's just during that time, you may be looking outside the box and going, okay, with my body capacity, with my life, what am I able to do that's different so that I can secure myself some extra funds? Now, I would say also, looking after your wellness, potential money coming in, starting new projects. I wouldn't say launching new projects is good, but I would say looking at what you can do within your power is a possibility. Don't freak out near the eclipse. You can become a bit foggy, and some of you, your absolute dreams could come true. So stay tuned for that one. Now, entering into this month, we are having the full moon in the house of Libra on the 6th of April, 2023. Now, collectively, we can find that we are looking at our wellness. Something can be coming to a head. We can have such in the media. Very separately, what we can find within our own personal zodiacs is key things relating to wellness, love, abundance, balance, and justice. I do feel, as we do look at this at a collective level, I do feel we are going to be really reworking what we can do to keep ourselves grounded, keep ourselves healthy, and to find the most stable way to have a brand new beginning without being codependent. Due to the fact the next moon is going to be a hybrid eclipse, which I'll get into in a moment. Let's take a look at how this links to your zodiac sign and what I see coming up for you with the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April, 2023. Okay, bath rituals are okay during this time. You can use rose, you can use pink quartz. If you do have allergies, again, always use your due diligence, know what your capabilities are and capacities. You can use crystal therapy inside your bath rituals. If you don't have a bath, you can just use the detox. So it can be drinking extra fluids, doing guided meditations, house clearing, heart chakra. And again, your throat chakra is really coming into this. During the moon, the full moon in Libra, which is a pink moon, it does connect to your 2nd house of self-esteem, eating, net worth, material values. You may, really good time to be security conscious. I'll be perfectly honest. Mars in the house of Cancer can be, security with our children, needing to be secure with our physical environment. Females need to be more cautious during this time. We can be seen in society in good and bad ways. Libra also is it's sort of could it be? It's a masculine sign, but it's a yin and yang. It's a Venusian sign. It can link to wellness. We could have a wrapping up of that. That can come up on the news of, something that's happening in that zone, maybe new situations coming through. But again, I just see that there can be confidence fluctuating around that time. doing the guided meditation, starting new processes. If you are signing any new contracts or documents or having a revelation through news, I would say give it a couple of days, but definitely get any signing, heavy lifting done in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the month. Now, the very first eclipse of the year has come in 2 sets. The moon is deemed as a black moon, is because we had 2 new moons in 1 set being Aries. Now, this is the first eclipse of the year, being a hybrid partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 20th of April 2023. Now, it's also at the critical degrees, and being a new moon, I do particularly feel this can be something quite radically changing very quickly, especially because this is your first house of self. This could be a time in which, with Mercury retrograde, don't do anything drastic when it does come to your hair, your makeup, plastic surgery. I would pause. Now, Mars wants to go in where, it wants to move forward. It's in a hurry. This would be the time where benefits from the past can come. People can appreciate you. You have large revelations to do with yourself. Also, where you're living, feeling, sensing, intuition can come up. But I would say don't rush. I do particularly feel, because we do have situations retrograding at this point, and this is eclipse, as much as possible, we may find that there's more information coming to us, and this can really aid us through having that brand new direction and confidence for the future. I do particularly feel for you at a personal level, this could be anything to the degree of gaining confidence, having clarity, making a conscious choice of a brand new way that you're going to be, defying the odds, so to speak, not putting up with rubbish. This also could be image changes, quite radically so. And I do particularly feel you could be putting your foot down and saying, I know what I want out of life and I'm going to go and get it. Status also can come into this. So you could go to rags to riches, riches to fame. Again, I would take time with that. This also can be engagements, and personal changes that you physically go through your own personal status. But I do feel it can be greatly healing, and confidence can resurface yet again. Don't be surprised if you do go down the rabbit hole of emotions during it, but it is really going to set the stage. And once we unpack and digest what that is, you may very well find that as we proceed through the next 6 months into 2025, really, because the nodes will be shifting by such that new tone for your life, both with your marriages, contracts, partnerships, and yourself, you versus other people, is going to look extremely different. Get ready for that 180, baby. Now, I have mentioned during this hybrid partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 20th of April 2023 that we do have Mercury retrograde, about a day, already going to be there. Pluto making a square to this eclipse. And I have mentioned, I believe, inside your romance zone of how that can be playing out. Now, it is a brand new chapter. It is a black moon. It is a brand new chapter. Remember the numerology associated to this. We might feel that we're in lack. We could have these huge revelations, brand new chapters coming through, confidence and expansion of this particular area, because Jupiter is in the house of Aries, is going to come up also. Now, this can be to do with tax, debt, legacies, inheritances. It might be a new stream of income. It could be a connection going to that next level and the individual is really working well with you. However that plays out, I would say no pacifiers moving into it. Difficulties can come up surrounding your wellness or what you're willing to do. There could be something playing out separately that is causing a difficulty that needs reworking, okay? You also could have some themes to do with your commitments. So being organized so that when we get to the eclipse, you are fluid. Mercury retrograding also can be having to travel at a drop of a hat. It could be a contract. It could be suddenly, making a decision to go in a different direction totally, severing a contract, starting a new one, be it it's in romance partnerships or a decision based on your career or your purpose. You also could have a brand new chapter with siblings. Siblings, if you have had conflict with, during Mercury retrograde, those situations can crop back up again for re-evaluation. You also might be looking at what country you want to live in, what you feel would be correct for you. Is it here? Is it there? Meeting of minds, upskilling, studying, reviewing. But there's going to be some, how could I say it? Some frustration. That's why I said give it a couple of days. Also, because Mercury will be retrograde until the following months, we can feel we're going backwards, not going forward. So would it be a good time to launch new things? Probably not. You still could, but you're going to feel that you're backpedaling to move forward. Now, Mars was sitting in the house of Gemini. You are a Mercury sign. Gemini is a Mercury sign. You're going to find that pressure point was really in your purpose. You'll find where it does come to your career and your purpose and where you're going, and if you're on the right path, you are going to find that it's going to flow a little bit better. The other thing I can say is Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces for you, linking to your contracts, marriages, partnerships, it can make you a little bit unmotivated. So it can make you tired, and it's like a scale. So what it's going to do is say to you, is the grind worth the buck? And that's with any of those things. So your heart center is going to give you the answers to that. And, which mountain are you willing to die on, theoretically? Mars, however, as it ingressed into Cancer, is, although we're happy because it had been sitting in Gemini from August last year and it did a retrograde, which makes us tired. You also now need to understand that Mars is deemed as in its detriment. So Mars is going to be obsessive in your 11th house. It can be controlling. It can be over emotional. That can be with your friends, with your projects, with your money. And so just be aware of that. It's like going to the supermarket and buying shopping, and because we're emotional, we overspend. It can be disputing a situation with money, going into a dispute, Mars. It also may be obsessive. I'm going to burn the candle at both ends till I achieve my target. Being cautious of that. So knowing your limit would be really handy. It isn't sitting here too long, but it's during an eclipse as well. So it can be emotional where we feel we're in lack mentality. We can at times be empathetic and understanding. Sometimes we can totally disregard emotions and feelings, our side, another person's side, and we can take offense to things. So I would say try to find that harmony. Although it's not Libra, you may need to find that harmony between the both, and that can be difficult. So Mercury enters Taurus from the 3rd, where it is going to be retrograding. It doesn't retrograde till the 21st. So Mercury enters Taurus from the 3rd, where it is going to be retrograde. Now, during its retrograde and linking to the eclipse, I would be careful of crosswires. I would be careful of overcommitting yourself. If you are traveling, I would say there can be some delays. So expect delays. Expect some mishaps. If you are studying, you may second guess yourself. You could be going back over old ground, thinking you did things when really you didn't. But again, just be patient during this time. There can be some review, again, of contracts. And just make sure you understand there can be some crosswise misunderstandings. You also may review if you got divorced. You might be reconnecting with that person. You might be reviewing where to go from here. There could be a reconciliation. Go with the flow. Let's take a look at some of the psychic messages I have for your zodiac sign. And then if you do wish to get the extension, you can go through to our YouTube membership or read the information below for the Psychic Tarot extension. Without further ado, let's take a look at your psychic update and what I see coming through for you. The first thing I get for your zodiac sign is, many times we just think to ourselves, why can't things be organized? You may run the risk of feeling like you need to link to some sense of standard, but it's going to be difficult to achieve that, especially this month. So, going with the flow is really going to aid you in this. I also feel a great deal of silence, and this could be something that you're requiring, a moment of silence so that you can meditate, so that you can think, but things could be popping off quite quickly as you do get to the mid-month section of life. And so I'm seeing that there's both revelations and excitement, and there's going to be highs and lows, and I feel you're just going to have to really ride that wave. I do feel there's a heart-centered energy here, and you are empathizing and understanding with an individual. But a new chapter can mean some sense of sadness. There also could be opportunities for you, and you're not quite sure which one to take. This could be in love. This could be a revelation of a feeling you're having for a friend. I think you're going to need to take a moment, but I think it's showing you something about what's happening inside of you. Some of you, I do see there's a statement piece that's made and you're regretful after, so be very careful what you're saying. You're worried about somebody as well. Definitely there's a sense of worry. I'm hearing stop, start, stop, start. Can't wait to see your cards. There's an exciting new venture that you're going to embark on, but you're second guessing yourself. You're wondering if you're ready to get out there to do it and to be that vibe of what you are describing in your mind. I also feel that, some of you are wanting more fun. Some of you are wanting to, branch out, do things different, but you're feeling quite bogged down. It could be location. I'm being shown an image of something I experienced years ago, and it's almost like I feel that there is going to be a portion of time this month where you're physically going to look around at your surroundings and go, my life as I know it has changed forever. And it feels large. It feels like a new chapter coming in, but it's also saying goodbye to an old chapter. The time I had that happen, it wasn't a bad thing. It was just a revelation that everything I had initially believed was totally going to change. Yeah, it was a new chapter. It was exciting, but it was also very eye-opening at that point in time. Some of you could get some news. Some of you are investigating something that's been niggling at you for a while. This could be going for a test. This could be, just really investigating it further. Some of you are tapping into herbal remedies. I'm hearing the term alternative. They're saying don't outrule both sides. Look at it, but don't outrule both sides. That both can aid. I see you looking at a path, and you can see a block. You can see a block in the road. I also feel an awkward conversation coming about, and I don't feel you want to have it, but I feel you feel it's overdue. Those of you who are in a very toxic relation, and it doesn't have to be toxic, the person doesn't have to be horrible, anything to that degree. It could simply be that you've changed. And this will only link to some of you, not all of you. You could be having a candid conversation with that individual, but you've been sitting on it for a year and a half. Some of you are revisiting whether you want to have children or not, and there is an opportunity here that that is possible. Some of you, I feel the relationship that you have with your children is going to be very different. They can be embarking in a brand new chapter, and it can feel bittersweet. It's something you have, you're happy for them, but at the same time, it is wrapping up of a cycle. I feel some of you, your children could be moving into a relationship. Some of you, your children could be having children. Some of you, your pastimes, you're just not relating to anymore. And some of you are simply having no time for such. And they're asking you to take some time for fun. I feel it'll happen in the first week. It's like this revelation of fun. I also see an overdue conversation with a sibling. There's something going on with them that you didn't know about, and I feel that it's going to reconnect you in a different way. I feel both of you in some shape or form carry a burden, but your relationship with this individual is going to be very different. Some of you, I'm hearing engagement. Some of you are wanting to change your image. You're tapping into it. And I feel, during this month, this can be, 1 minute you can be very up in your head. Where am I going? Who am I? The next minute I feel your image changes. Yeah. Hair, makeup. I feel you're going to pause and you're going to say to yourself, what's going on here? And I think it's journaling may be a really handy thing for you. It's almost like unlocking a code. It does feel that you're unlocking a code of the inside of you. Very candid conversation with the mother. This can be a major transition for this individual. This individual is a very firm person. I'm hearing the term, it's not personal. This could just be who this person is, but I do think there's a chapter in this person's life that is going to be evolving and changing, and I feel they know such. I see you building something. This could be at your home, and you're getting a telephone call. I feel you're going to start a new project. I feel you are wanting to have more freedom so that you can travel, so that you can do you, so you can have a different way of life. And I think you're looking at life differently now. This can be sustainability. It may be eco to a degree. This, again, it could be a farm. I'm hearing the term you're building for a better future. I feel there is a soul friend here that is very close to you. They're a kindred spirit. This person and you have a soul path together. Now, I don't think it's romantic. I feel this is more as, it's almost like you resonate with each other. It's like you're healers to one another. They could be playing a very important role in your life at this point, but I feel they're embarking in a new chapter also. We will get into your Psychic Tarot. If you want to join us, come through. Otherwise, I'll see you on the other side. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership for your Psychic Tarot extension. Come through and take a look what I see coming through for you. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership.